Hip hop, what happened was in the 90s now, the major labels really got involved, the major record labels. And the core audience now would prefer sex, drugs, and materialism over positive messages. And now outsiders were controlling the face of hip hop. And so what happened was in these record labels, these major record labels that have cajillion dollars to spend on advertising and making more money off of it, they saw this hip hop thing like, hey, this hip hop thing has been around for over 10 years now. It's got some potential. So they really got involved. And when they got involved and they did their studies, these record labels, they did their studies on what would sell and how we're going to market it, they found this segment of hip hop that was, in my opinion, more on the negative side, more on the F the police side, more the sexist type side. And they saw that and they said, hey, there's this suburban teenage culture that will eat this up. And just people in general will eat this up. Because what do we like? We like to go to movies where people are getting killed and you know, sex and violence. That's what we like as people for some reason. Even some of us church folk, we even go and see those movies. It's just something about our human nature that likes that stuff. And these record labels, the people doing the promoting and the advertising, they knew this because they spend lots of money doing research. And so what they did was they said, let's take this part of hip hop and let's really promote it. And so now you went from Public Enemy selling about 500,000, a million copies, to NWA or another group such as that going like multi-platinum, selling millions and millions of records. So what happened in the transition, the positive stuff, the stuff with integrity, it just kind of slipped out. And now it's just everything is just this one narrow point of view. You know, very violent, very misogynistic in nature. I don't know if I said that word right, but treating women bad, basically. And so you had some of that in hip-hop in the 80s. And I think for people that live within that, if that's their life, I think it empowers them, and it's a good thing for them to have a voice and to speak that and let us respond to it in a positive, Christ-like way. But the problem was, the major labels, they just took that, and that's all they gave us. And so now what we have is pretty much you turn on the radio during the day, and you can hear about getting shot, you know, pull your guns out, let's get violent. Just very violent lyrics. You can turn on TV, BET, MTV, VH1, and pretty much watch soft porn in the videos during the day. This ain't like after 12 midnight. This is like 3 o'clock when kids are getting home after school during the day. And so you see a lot of pollution coming in to hip-hop. You see a lot of pollution coming in to Christianity and the church. About 300 years after Christ died, there was an emperor, Constantine, who was just notorious for just slaying people. I mean, he was not a good guy at all. And he ruled with a, whatever the saying is. Y'all know the saying? Iron fist, that's right. Because he had to, because there weren't guns back then, so they had to punch people and, you know, stab them and stuff. So it had to be an iron fist. And so what happened was, he realized Christianity offered forgiveness. He said, hey, I'm a treacherous man. If I just accept Christ and be forgiven, well, okay then. I can do all my dirt and then just get forgiven and I'm straight. And so he liked this idea of Christianity. And so what he did was, he instituted Christianity as the state religion. And so now Christianity mixes with power, mixes with the government, mixes with money. And so the church begins to reestablish itself on the concept of worldly power. So instead of, hey, I'm your teacher, so let me serve you, as Christ taught, the church now turns to, I am your teacher, now submit to my authority and allow me to rule over you. And so after that got instituted, the church has done all kinds of crazy things in the name of Christ. Crusades, colonization, manifest destiny. We drop bombs on folks now in the name of Christ. All kinds of stuff in the name of Christ. But it doesn't come from Christ. It comes from a religion instituted by a Roman emperor that has some Christ-likeness mixed in, but it's not what Christ brought. And so you have this pollution coming in. And so that's kind of where we're at now. We're really jacked up in hip-hop. Just a lot of mess going on in hip-hop. And young people, teenagers today, follow what the major labels established, not what the founding fathers established in the 70s, nor what the rap pioneers established in the 80s. A lot of teenagers today, we follow the example laid down to us by people who are not of hip-hop, people who did not come from hip-hop, who don't care about hip-hop except for making them rich. And we're feeding a system designed to make others rich at our own expense. And so young cats today, teenagers today, they look up to a different brand of rappers. Hip-hop is a powerful tool, and it takes a powerful message to a lot of people. I grew up in the 80s, all right, 1980. I came from Evansville, Indiana, which is smaller than Cincinnati, and I grew up in the Catholic Church. So I'm just surrounded by whiteness all around, all right? White family, white church. There was like one black, maybe two black families in the church. So I'm just around whiteness all day long, right? So how is it that I was talking about, hey, man, we all come from Africa. Everybody comes from Africa. Africa is everybody descends from Africa. But through hip-hop music, it's powerful. I looked up to cats like KRS-One, who preached this message of, you know, hey, you know, you say all these teenagers are running around wild, acting crazy in the public schools. Why don't you teach them about their rich heritage, their rich culture, their rich ancestry? Maybe if you teach them who they are, maybe then they'll have some more integrity, some more self-respect. And so he was teaching this stuff. Public Enemy was talking about things going on in the community that were wrong, injustices that were going on. Let's mobilize. Let's do something about it. So you had these guys that had a lot of positive messages going on in the 80s. Well, our teenagers and young cats, they're not looking up to these folks anymore. They're looking up to a cat that says, hey, I sling crack on the corner and get paid. And I'm glorified for it. I'm the man in my community because I get paid for slinging crack, for tearing up families. Hey, you know what? I got something I'm going to store in my auntie's house that could get her locked up for a long time if the police find out about it. But it's cool, though, because I'm getting paid, you know? And so they look up to this type of rapper. And what's the crazy thing about it is that hip-hop, like I said